RNK selection relates to the selection of combinations of traits in an organism that trade off between quantity and quality of offspring. They focus upon either increased quantity of offspring at the expense of individual parental investment or reduced quantity of offspring with a corresponding increased parental investment. Vary widely, seemingly to promote success in particular environments. RNK selected organisms are said to be extremes on a continuum. Some organisms will have millions of offspring in 1 year, and then some will have one offspring every few years. However, some animals can demonstrate both RNK selective strategy. So we're going to talk about R selection. Makes a species prone to numerous production at low cost per individual offspring. They exploit less crowded ecological niches, produce many offspring, each of which has a relatively low probability of survival to adulthood. Common reason for mortality is catastrophic events, example flood or hurricane. Not intense competitions maximize population growth. Few production opportunity per individual. The environment of our selected species. In unstable or unpredicted environment, our selection predominates as the ability to reproduce quickly is crucial. There is little advantage in adaptation that permits successful competition with other organisms due to constant changing of environment. So here we have an R selection graph. dn represent the change in population size. dt is the time increment. R is the intrinsic rate of increase. So we have the graph. We see that the exponential population growth of our selected species. So dn represent the change in population size over dt, which is the time increment. R represent intrinsic rate of increase. There's traits that characterize our selections: high fecundity, small body size, early maturity onset, short generation time, the ability to disperse offspring widely.
So the K-selected species expend high cost in reproduction for a low number of more difficult to produce offspring. It lives at densities close to carrying capacity. It's typically are strong competitors in such crowded niches that invest more heavily in fewer offspring, each of which has a relatively high probability of surviving to adulthood. And its common reason for mortality is competition for limited resources. The environment of K-selected species. In stable or predictable environments, K-selection predominated as the ability to compete successfully for limited resources is crucial. The population of K-selected organisms typically are very constant in number and close to the maximum that the environment can bear. Trait characterize. They have large body size, long life expectancy, production of fewer offspring, require extensive parental care until the offspring mature. Neither mode of propagation is intrinsically superior, and in fact they can coexist in the same habitat. So we have a K-selection graph. The R is intrinsic rate of increase, and the N is population size, And the K is carrying capacity, which means maximum number of individuals that habitat can support. And we have logistic population growth. The examples of our selection is white rat, seahorse, black-chinned hummingbird, and dandelion. For the K selection, we have bur oak, white rhinoceros, strawberry poison dart frog, and modern human.